Joining us now to have a look at how big businesses and government should work together to grow the small business sector is Ivan Epstein, Chief Executive of Sage AAMEA. It's got nothing to do with drinking or cars or Australia,
I wish
Africa.
it had something to do with cars.
Middle East,
it's
Africa.
Australia, Africa, or Africa now, which is a big market for us, Middle East, Asia, and Australia, yeah.
Ivan, many people watching this are saying, what the heck is Ivan Epstein talking about small business for? He runs such a big business. He used to run Softline. He's an entrepreneur, South African Entrepreneur of the Year. What year was it?
2000.
2000, goodness me.
Time flies, Eric.
Yeah, it does. But now you're keen to try and kick into gear this economy in the right way, through small business. You've been there. But I suppose your company, Sage, many people would know it because of Pastel, does have its fingers very deeply embedded into the small business sector. Are they battling?
You know, you're finding what you're finding in South Africa at the moment, and it's also applicable to other parts of the world. You're not getting enough small businesses starting up, and South Africa saw a slight regression in that regard. And I think it's important to an economy like, and I'm going to talk purely about South Africa now, because Sage as a group, just in perspective, we service about 6 million SMEs around the world. In South Africa, it's around about 300,000. But we play an important role by providing the backbone, being the software, the payroll and the accounting software into these businesses. And I think with what's important in an economy like ours is to see growth of small business, because one is we're an emerging economy. Two is we're an economy that, you know, not 20 years ago came out of a difficult past.
Yeah, but we know that. We know.
Yeah, but that's why
the world grows with small businesses.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Small businesses employ people. But what worried me when I was looking through the research, the stuff you guys, the research you've been doing, is that only 14% of South Africans bother about starting a small business in the next 3 years.
Well, that's what the statistics say, but a lot more should be, and we want to encourage that. And encourage it in the correct direction. And, you know, in order to encourage that is to play a role. You know, now with the formation of the small business sector in government under the Minister, Lindiwe Zulu, you saw there's a creation of this new department.
But does she know much about it?
Well, I haven't met her, and I'm looking forward to meeting her hopefully quite soon, so that we can discuss.
Has she had small businesses? Do you know much about her?
She's had reasonably good experience, and I think she'd be, you know, if she works together with not just people in government, but with people in business, I think she could do an outstanding job. And I think it's important because it's the right initiative for the government to have actually set that department up. If that department then, with people like companies like ours, are able to work together with them, I think we can assist tremendously in that regard.
You know, in Davos this year, there was a lot of talk about gazelles, about being nimble. The whole world is really scared at what's happening to employment, and they realize there's only one way out of the employment funk, and that is in generating entrepreneurs, more entrepreneurs, and generating small businesses, because that's where the employment comes from. But you don't set up a government department and suddenly magic it, the problems away.
No, I don't. I think you're right, Alec, it won't be. And that's why we're very keen to sit down and have a discussion with the department and with the minister to see what their intention is and to offer our assistance in that regard. Bear in mind, we understand small business. I mean, we've been at this for 25 years in other parts of the world.
So how can you help?
Well, in a number of different ways. One is we can help from stimulating entrepreneurship. We have programs. We're busy doing that at the moment as a company. We have programs where we stimulate entrepreneurship. We help with education, not only at a tertiary level, but also, you know, right up to postgraduate level as well at university. We're able to assist with programs. And that's with regards to our product base as well, just to bear that in mind.
Look, I've just got a startup. We've been at it for the last 10 months. And I love your initiative for small businesses that you can do all your accounting online for about 150 bucks. I mean, is that one of the things that you're talking about that you can assist with?
That product will get provided to the startup business. Now, also bear in mind with legislation, you know, with SARS, payroll and all that, those are the components we provide. And we can work together with the department to assist. And also most important is to educate and stimulate. And I think through education, you know, comes employment, as you just said. And how you're going to create that employment? Well, educate people, assist them in forming a small business. You know, don't work on those odds of, we know, what was it? It's under 10% of businesses in their first year don't make it. There's a very small,
Because a lot of people don't understand the language of business, and the language of business is accounting, which is what you guys are doing.
It's accounting, and obviously there's all the entrepreneurial factors.
Sure.
Because I mean, the kind of benefit we've got, and certainly I talk, for myself and some of our management team as well. We all started a small business. I mean, you remember our startup back in 1989.
Amazing.
And not
what made you? What enabled you to become from a startup to become this big corporation that what you created is today?
Timing was good. Okay, let's say we were lucky. We went into the software industry in '89. We got into a market where the upward curve was tremendous. You remember the conversion from manual accounts to what was then called computerized accounts. I mean, I remember when I was an auditor at Pricewaterhouse, filling out books of accounts, the old-fashioned method, And I think so we got our timing right, and also we were very driven and focused individuals, Eric, and we pushed hard at this. We weren't going to be we decided back then we weren't going to be a statistic. We were going to make it through. And then later with our JSE listing in '97.
You've also been curious. I had a good friend who worked with you when you were an article clerk, and they said the one guy who was not going to make a good accountant was Ivan Epstein. But you made a damn good entrepreneur. Do you think the two are mutually exclusive?
I always knew I wasn't going to be an accountant. That's why I went into business. But the thing is, I think, listen, as we know, Eric, discipline in business is very important. And when a business gets to scale, you need to have great controls, solid discipline, and a fundamental financial understanding. I think that's important.
And curiosity, which you've had.
And, curiosity and drive and ambition as well. And you have to, I think having the aspirational drive in going to the next level always in any business is important. And these are some of the attributes we want to discuss, with the government. In how can we educate people? How can we, starting at a school level, moving through university, and even for those that don't go through to university, help in stimulating growth in the small business sector.
Ivan, what I like about where it's coming from, this advice, is that you're still very entrepreneurial yourself. Apart from being involved in Sage, you're doing property developments.
Yes.
When do you do that? What time? You've got a big company, a big business to run. Where do you find the time to unleash your entrepreneurial ambitions?
Look, when you're awake, the adrenaline pumps, and when the adrenaline pumps, you make it happen. I mean, it's what I enjoy. It's what I enjoy doing.
And how is that developing?
It's going very well, and it's a long road. You need to be, again, disciplined in that. And as we know, you look at the property sector now, it's just, I mean, from a listed perspective, it's steaming. We're not a listed company. We're a private fund. And it's, again, putting your entrepreneurial attributes into that and growing a business, learning from the mistakes of the past, which were many, as you know. And, I think what's important is you never stop learning in business, because every day, you make a mistake or you do something good, you learn something new. And, that knowledge, that database of knowledge gets formed over many, many years of being in business. And that's why, that's why we're so keen to get involved. Not only because we provide the backbone to so many thousands of small businesses throughout this country, but also because we truly understand what it takes to start a business. So we're not a team coming from a perspective of, look, we provide the software and we just want to get our software into. We understand the concept of starting a small business. We understand the trials and tribulations of having grown a business. And I think, I think it's an important contributor to the economy of South Africa.
Well, look forward to hearing from you when you have that first meeting, and then follow-up meetings and thereafter, because if you think about it, Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger from Berkshire Hathaway say that they believe business schools should be focusing only on one thing, not on these long, complicated Greek symbols that get put into calculations, but on the successes and failures of business. If you're talking about entrepreneurship, surely we should be doing the same thing, looking at the successful entrepreneurs, studying their life stories, and maybe applying those in our own minds if we want to grow more entrepreneurs. And South African Entrepreneur of the Year in the year 2000. And he's kicked on in a big way. Ivan Epstein. He's the Chief Executive of Sage Africa, Asia, Middle East, and Australia.